Hey everyone, I'm Armor Gaming. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another unboxing video, this time of silver relics. I have 48 chests and then I have an additional silver relic chest, so that's 49, and I'll probably open a free chest. We'll start with the free chest, that way I can title this video 50 chest opening. Anyhow, with that said, let's get right into it. And hopefully you saw my previous video with the gold relic chest where I emphasized the importance of waiting for a boost. That way when you fuse your relics you get the most out of it, an extra additional 20% experience for every relic fused. Anyhow, the Pestilence Trap, when the turn ends, if any enemy is possessed, its strength is increased by 160 points for one turn and has two uses. You might be wondering, why would I want my enemy's HP to increase? Well, it's because they're possessed, and when an enemy monster is possessed, they actually attack their own team or themselves. And in my opinion, the Pestilence Trap isn't one of the better relics, and it can probably be used as fodder. However, when you have a monster that can do AoE possession, it is useful to put it on them. For example, Hackster. Hackster can hold two traps. I actually have my Hackster with two Spirits Traps. That way, when he does AoE hack and possesses 3 enemy monsters, all of them have their strength increased, and when they attack themselves, they deal more damage against themselves. So that's the strategy I use. But again, it's not one of the better relics, and it's not something you need to prioritize. It's really just dependent on what monster you have, and what are your better monsters in the game. Next up, we have the Widow Amulet. When the turn starts, if any ally is dead, any ally gives 3,765 points of armor to wearer, two uses. So the Widow Amulet I think can be a useful amulet. Once again, not one of the better ones. This is one you can fuse away, but it can be useful, especially if you're an underdog. If you're the kind of player that's constantly facing tough opponents that do potentially one-shot you, or maybe do an AoE and one of your monster dies, this could be extremely useful. And then even more so if you have a monster that can revive the fallen comrade. That way you take advantage of your monster dying, you get a shield for yourself, and then you can revive your monster that died. But again, not one of the more useful relics, something you can definitely do away with. Next up we have, what do we have next? We have Pestilence Trap. Ooh, the infamous relic. Once the battle begins, all enemies' maximum life is decreased by 1,485 points for 2 turns. One use. And alright, I would personally say this is a relic you want to prioritize. This one is super important. Once the battle begins, so this applies before everything else. And that's the cool thing about this relic, because there's some relics that only apply under certain conditions. After your HP drops below 50%, 25%, 75%, after your hits, blah blah blah. No, this begins immediately, and it reduces maximum life by X amount of points depending on the level. The reason this is really good is because even if, for example, if you take my Hackster, that I use Spirits Trap to increase the enemy monster's HP if they get possessed. Well, what if they don't get possessed? I don't benefit from the relic. What if only one of them gets possessed? The relic is still going to activate. Pestilence Trap, on the other hand, there's no blocking this. It's an immediate, hey, all of your max life is reduced, which it's kind of a similar thing, right? If you compare Spirits Trap and Pestilence Trap, if the enemy monster is possessed, their strength increases, which means when they attack themselves, they're going to deal more damage, which makes it easier for them to die. Pestilence Trap, same thing, but except it decreases max life, so when they attack themselves, it makes it easier to kill them. But now the advantage is, because their max life is decreased, when you attack them, it's easier for you to kill them. So especially if you have an attacker that maybe was just a few points away previously from finishing off the enemy from OTKing, it can have an easier chance. And this is especially useful when Social Point decides to do common wars, rare wars, uncommon wars, and the enemy monsters don't have a lot of HP, especially if they don't have life runes. So it's quite possible that maybe you put a team that has like 3 or 4 Pestilence Traps and it's an auto win because it just kills the enemy team. So definitely be sure to prioritize Pestilence Trap. Oh, and by the way, everything I'm saying, I haven't fully looked into all the relics. I mean, I did previously, but I haven't done it recently. So this is just my personal opinion, seeing the relics like once again for the first time as they get released from this chest. So Icebreaking Sword. After hitting, if target is frozen, it deals 565 points of water damage to affected enemy, 2 uses. Personally, I don't think any of the swords are good, or at least none of the, I forget what the diamond one does. But all the other ones, just off what I can remember, I don't think they're good. Hopefully I'll get even more and we can review them. But if the target is frozen, it deals 565 points of water damage. Okay, that's not a lot. Leveled up, I guess it could deal more, but it's not something you want to fuse relics into and prioritize. I would personally not recommend this. This is going to go into fusion material. Let's see what else I have. Energy Mask. This is one of my more favorite relics. After being hit, the wearer gains 25 points of stamina, 2 uses. So, this is a really good relic to counter monsters that can stamina drain. You know, the most obvious monster being General Thetis. General Thetis' stamina devours, you get hits, She drained your stamina, you recover stamina, and make sure you level this up enough up until the point where you can do one attack or a couple attacks. So energy mask, good relic. Definitely be sure to prioritize it in case you need something to counter stamina drainers. And it's also just useful in general. If you, hey, look, I got another one. Like, and what I mean in general is, if like you just used your last stamina doing an attack, you don't have to waste a turn recharging. Look, I got a third one. You don't have to waste a turn recharging. So it's just an immediate, hey, I got stamina back. Thank you for hitting me. Life banner is next. I also recall life banners not being anything too amazing, or most of the banners, with the exception of the charging banner and vitality banner, which I liked and I mentioned in the gold video. Anyhow, when the turn starts, a random ally's maximum. Oh, so that's why I don't like this. And I mentioned this in the past video. I don't like random. I want a for sure this monster is gonna get HP increase or strength increase or whatever, but I don't like random. I will say, however, in a previous rare war, I did use a life banner to give my rare monster enough HP to where they could survive. So again, if you have a relic, use it, but this isn't something you should prioritize. And so let's continue. I have 40 more to go. This might be a long video. I might do 2 parts, or if relics start repeating a lot, I might just stop it earlier. So that was another Widow amulets. Now we have a major cold shield. When the turn starts, if any ally is frozen, it gains 2,260 points of armor. So in my opinion, this is not something you should prioritize. However, it does have its usefulness. And once again, this bit of information is primarily for the underdog. See, most people aren't in a situation where they can go first, right? Ideally, yeah, that'd be awesome if you could go first. You could always control the game. You could AoE deny, you could AoE stun, AoE possess, AoE freeze, whatever you need to do. But I think for the majority of players, especially when they find themselves in League Legendary 4, you face opponents that are way out of your level. They all have 130s, they have high level runes, and then they're going to deny you first. So if you're facing a monster that you know has AoE freeze, why not just use the major cold shield to give your monsters some chance of surviving? You never know. That additional 2,260 points, that's quite significant, especially if most of your monsters have it. So be sure to, so if you have this, I would say don't fuse it into something else right away. Keep it because you never know when it can come in handy. But should you prioritize this? I wouldn't say so. I think there's better shields that you can get. But again, it's not something you want to fuse right away. Take advantage of it if you have it. And then there's another one, the Earth Shield, that does essentially the same thing but when you're stunned. And I think there's a possession one also. Major Vitality Essence is next. When the battle begins, a random ally's maximum life is increased by 7,700 points for 1 turn. Once again, I don't like the randomness. It's like the banner. However, I would say that more monsters can hold the Essence Relic than the Banner Relic. So if you do want to prioritize one, I would say the Major Vitality Essence. And actually, this is the one I used in the Rare War, not the Banner, because not that many monsters have the Banner. But the Major Vitality Essence, I actually have one at level 15. And again, it's random. You never know when that can come in handy. Maybe just by odds of the game, you gave max life. You increased the max life of the monster you needed to. Oh, this one's also when the battle begins. So I think that's why I like this more. The other one is when the turn starts. This is when the battle begins. So before anything else, your monster gets an immediate max HP increase, which once again, it could save them. You never know. So I'll collect that and we'll keep on going. So that one, in terms of essence, I don't like it, but it is one of the better ones. You'll come to see that most of the essence, they're pretty good. When the wearer dies, all allies are healed by 6,565 points. I'm not a fan of when the wearer dies, but again, for the underdog player where you probably do know one of your monsters is going to die, hey, this could come in handy. This could save you. This could give you enough HP. And then if you can revive the dead comrade with Undertaker, Sammy, Metalisha, there's so many revival monsters, then you can take advantage of them dying and take advantage of the essence. But it's not something I would recommend leveling up. It's actually one that I would recommend fusing into something else, one of your better relics. Soul-Shattering Sword. After hitting your target is possessed, 12 points of stamina are removed. Not a fan of the swords, like I said, 12 points of stamina removed. But then the condition is the enemy monster needs to be possessed. And really, if they're possessed, you want them to have at least enough stamina to where they can attack their own team. So you don't want to put yourself in a situation where, let's say the monster only had 30 stamina, that was enough to attack themselves. But then you attack with a monster that has Soul-Shattering Sword, and even though it's only level 1, they lose 12 points, so now they're down to 18, then they have to recharge. That wasted the possession. So this, I would immediately, it's fodder material, put it into something else. You don't need it. Of course, there's situations where you could use it, but the majority of the time you won't need it, so just get rid of it. That's my best advice for that one. Let's see what else we have. Avenging Energy Staff. I think this is our first staff from the silver chest. After being hit, 20 points of stamina is removed from a random enemy. Once again, not a fan of random. However, if you don't have the gold staff, then removing random stamina is better than nothing. And once again, like with many things, you never know when it can come in handy. 20 points at level 1, it's not significant. It might still be able to help you occasionally. If you level this up, it can definitely help you, especially when this is fully ranked up. So this is one I would maybe keep one of to max out, but not something you should definitely prioritize because there's definitely a better relic. The gold version is definitely way better. But the silver one could also be useful. So don't completely disregard it, but don't focus on getting like 2 of them leveled up. Haste Banner. I do not like speed relics. That's all I'm going to say. I have no idea how they work. I have no idea if you can predict the turn order of your monster, the enemy order. There's always been a lot of glitches with speed banners. So personally, you have 2 options. You could feed them into superior relics, better relics, or you can try to figure out how they work. Good luck with that. I guess, and then your third option, which is really your second option, you could just save them. You can just save them, and then hopefully Social Point figures out exactly how they should work in the game. Then you can start utilizing them, but really I'm not a fan of speed manipulation relics at all. Moving on, we have, what do we have? We have the Pestilence Trap. Yes, another Pestilence Trap. I'm happy for that. Let's get one more, please. I like having 3 relics, 3 copies of a relic, but I'll settle for 2. Major Vitality Essence, we talked about this. Let's keep collecting. I feel like they're going to start repeating. I'm trying to think, what haven't I gone over? Armors? Cold Armor. When the turn starts, if warrior is frozen, it gains 3,765 points of armor. So very similar to what I talked about earlier with the shield, the cold shield. They essentially do the same thing. Not something you want to prioritize, but definitely something the underdog player can utilize because you know you're not going first, so you might as well. Recharging Trap. When revived, the wearer increases all allies' maximum stamina. Nope, this is a relic you want to immediately fuse into your better relics. You do not need any relic that increases max stamina when you get revived. Like, how often are you actually going to be able to use that? Probably never. When the turn ends, if any ally is possessed. Yep, so this is the Hackster relic I talked about. Let's see what else we can get. Let's skip this. Woo! A third Pestilence Trap. I'm happy about that. Let's get more. I'll be okay with that too. Major Cold Shield. When the turn starts, ally is frozen. Yeah, so you get a little less points, actually, I'm seeing now, but difference is not every monster can hold the armor. Not every monster can hold a shield. That's why some of the skills or some of the relic descriptions you'll see repeat, but on a different type of relic. So this is the Major Spirit Shield is the possession version. If an ally is possessed, it gains points of armor. This could be useful because when an enemy monster is possessed, it's going to attack themselves or their own team. So maybe having that shield will make it so it kind of zeroes out. It obviously depends on the monster's strength and everything, but not having that relic, you're going to take an immediate hit to the face. So some protection is better than no protection. Major Spirit Shield again. You know what, the one thing I will say about relics, a lot of people complain about not having good relics, but the cool thing about relics, in my opinion, is that even if you don't get a quote-unquote good relic, you're fine. And the reason you're fine is because you can fuse them into a good relic. So just imagine if you can do that with monsters. Imagine all the bad monsters and you were just to be like with monsters we have to keep them or we can sell them for like nothing, right? You get like no gold for selling monsters. But imagine if you can get the monsters and be like, I'm going to use this monster and feed it into another monster and my monster becomes more powerful, the one I actually want. You can do that with relics. So personally, I believe no relic is useless. All relics serve a purpose, whether to keep and put on your monsters or whether to feed into the good relic. That way it can be stronger, it can be a higher level. When the turn starts, random allies power is increased. Don't like random power increasing. You can fuse that away, the Furious Banner, because what if your deny monster gets the power increase and they're just like, they can't even deal damage? What if Timerion gets the power increase? What if you max out that Furious Banner and it boosts Timerion? You do not want that. You do not. Energizer Staff. This is an amazing staff. When the turn starts, if any, keyword, any ally stamina is below 25%, 15 points of stamina is given to all targets. The reason this is good is because this is a really good silver relic counter to General Thetis. If Thetis does stamina devours, drains all of your monster's stamina. As soon as your monster goes that has the Energizer Staff, all of your monsters will recover by X amount of stamina points depending on the level. So at level 1, it's only 15. You want to be sure to level this up. I think I have 1 or 2 Energizer Staffs that are leveled up. So if you have this, make sure to keep it and make sure to level it up. That's one you definitely want to prioritize. What else do we have? Major Regeneration Essence. Didn't like that. Well, I mean, it's not blah. You guys know, I already talked about it. Major Healing Essence. When the turn ends, I like this one. If any ally's life is below 50%, it is healed by 6,565 points. I put this a lot on my Montezuma, or just, once again, I love these. A lot of these are underdog relics. I consider them. The one thing I will say about relics, even though they benefit players that already have everything maxed out and high level and blah blah blah, it really does help underdog players, players that are free to play, players that have to go against those really elite battles, because when they go first and they attack you, then I feel like a lot of times your relics activate first because they meet the conditions. For example, it's very possible that you have level 100 monsters versus 120s or 130s. They hit you with an AoE, your HP is now below 50%, you do an attack, but then you heal by whatever points depending on the relic level. So I like this one a lot. It's one I utilize all the time. I would say this is one you keep, and you definitely prioritize leveling up or maxing out, because it can essentially get your monsters almost to like max. And look at that, another Pestilence Trap. Yes, that is 4 Pestilence Traps from all of these silver chests. Soul-Shattering Sword, this is for possession, yeah, remove stamina. You know what, like, if, for example, here's an example of where this sword could come in handy. Again, won't always come in handy, but it could. If, for example, you find a monster that can hold 2 swords, and you max them out, you know, let's say they can remove, I don't know, I'll check wiki, I'll be right back. Alright, so just take my word for it. At level 25, keep in mind, you can level up silver relics all the way to 30, but at level 25, if the conditions are met, you have the Soul-Shattering Sword at level 25, it'll remove 55 points of stamina. So let's say you find a monster that can hold 2 of these swords. And so essentially what could happen is you can create a combo where you AoE possess, then your monster with the swords goes and attacks the enemy monster, maybe with an AoE, and so all the enemy monsters will lose 55 plus 55, they lose 110 stamina. So then they only have 30 stamina left, and they're still possessed, so then they use their last stamina to attack themselves. So, like I said, pretty much all relics you can probably find some use for them, but again, like the likelihood of being able to land that combo in an ideal situation, not very likely, which is why I would just consider this fodder material. But if you want to be special, if you want to be unique, if you want to think outside the box, think like that. Find a way to use relics that are unconventional. Earth Shackling Sword, after hitting a target is stunned, it deals 565 points of earth damage to affected enemy. I don't like this at all. However, I will say I have used it successfully on my Barakor because my Barakor has 2 stun skills, and I also use my Barakor with Sammy, which gives him increased accuracy. And when the monster has increased accuracy, even if it's only a 50% chance to stun, it actually lands more often than it misses. So I remember 2 battles where I hit with Barakor and they didn't die. They had like 200 HP left, but thanks to my Earth Shaking Sword, that was enough to kill them. And I'm like, whoa, maybe I should actually level up at least one Earth Shaking Sword, just for those random chances when I actually get to utilize the sword relic. So I might actually focus on one. I don't recommend it for the most people, and again, this is why I'm saying this is definite fodder material in my opinion. But you think outside the box, be special, be creative, think of a way to utilize a relic that most people wouldn't conventionally use. So that's what I really like on Barakor, especially when paired with Sammy. Thunder Revenge Helmet, after being hit, if Var's life is below 75%, it deals 945 points of thunder damage to attacker. I've attacked a lot of bases that have this, and I would consider this immediate fodder material. I don't know what it does maxed out. Let me check it on wiki really quickly. At level 30, it will deal 3,700 points of damage, thunder damage specifically, and if it actually gets 2 uses against the same monster, what is that, 7,400 points of damage. And if it's a water monster, no, I just don't like this. Again, it maybe could come in handy. It could potentially come an enemy monster, but very, very, very unlikely. In Water Wars, you could probably get the best use out of it, but just so unlikely in my opinion. So I would just immediate fodder material. What else do we have? Widow Amulet. I got a lot of those, so a lot of those I'm going to be fusing away. But what else do I have? Energizer Staff. This was one of my favorite ones, one of my more favorite ones. It might be. No, I don't want to make any definite claims, so forget I said that. Major Spirit Shield gains armor. We only have 8 more, 7 more after this, and then that other one. Let's see, Amulet of Haste, another speed relic. I'm not going to waste my time. I do not like any speed manipulation relics until they can be fixed, until we know exactly how they work. Got another energy mask, that's nice. I've noticed a lot of energy masks and a lot of pestilence traps. Happy about that. I also noticed a lot of that kinetic amulet, which is just going to be fusion material. Look, another energy mask right there. 4 more. I wonder if I've gotten every single silver relic that's possible. Another ice breaking sword. Let's open it. No, I think I'm missing, there's another mask. It's like the Enraged mask or something that increases strength. Another Amulet of Haste. So I didn't get every silver relic, but I did talk about a good majority of them. Another Spirit's Shield. Last one. Actually, we have one more. But as for this, the Avenging Energy, yeah, I talked about this too. I think I talked about almost all of them. I know for sure I missed one mask, but nothing else comes to mind. So let me know in the comments below what silver relic didn't I get? Is there a silver relic that you have that I didn't talk about? If so, let me know in the comments below. I'm sure there are. I know that there's a mask for sure, but I'm just curious what else is there. Anyhow, this is the very last chest of the video. I get food, 70k, Nanook cells, 5, Hedgie cells, 15, small life restore, swiftness of amulet, and a haste banner. What a way to end with a measly haste banner, the worst of the worst, the things I don't like, speed manipulation relics. What about this? Another, it's like the game knew. Okay, armor hates speed relics, let's give him 2 speed relics. Amulet of Swiftness, wow. So with that being said, that is going to be it for this video. Really hope you guys enjoyed. Really hope this video was somewhat helpful. Like I said, let me know what silver relic I didn't get that you may have, just for curiosity's sake. And with that being said, really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you all next time.